Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to La Verona Daily News. I'm Kanita, bringing you the eyes on the news for Friday, 1st July 1591.
Our story today is about love tragedy and teen suicide. We have received a tragic breaking news that at 20 minutes before 9 p.m., three Veronese citizens were spotted dead at the graveyard of the Capulet family vault, located within 15 miles radius of the royal palace in the city of Verona in northern Italy. The identity of the three victims were confirmed to be the young heir Romeo and heiress Juliet of the two famous powerful families in Verona, the Montague and the Capulet, as well as Count Paris, who happens to be the kinsman of Prince Aeschylus. According to the Special Crime Investigation Unit, the death of Romeo and Juliet was confirmed to be under the act of suicide, with Romeo poisoning himself with a bottle of poison brought from a local apothecary, and Juliet stabbed herself to death with her lover's dagger, while Count Paris was reported to have been slain by Romeo in a duel. The death of the three most powerful figures in Verona simply added more fuel to the existing fire in the ongoing feud between the two families. Prince Aeschylus, extremely full of rage upon receiving the report of the trio death, declared to personally intervene in this case.
Shortly, we are going to be uncovering the truth behind the scene of what exactly happened and how did the joyful wedding day was changed to bitter grief funeral instead. Okay, so now let us go and meet the people who are involved with this tragic incident. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the coronavirus pandemic and the social distancing regulation, we are sorry to inform you that the interview will be conducted through online call in order to prevent the propagation of the COVID-19.
So far, we haven't known the reason why both of them chose to commit suicide in the first place. So now, let's hear from our priest, Friar Lawrence, who appears to have known the whole story. So, Father, would you mind telling us briefly what is the true story behind the death of these three powerful Veronese figures?
So it happened from one day when I was standing at my own door. I saw Juliet with her pale, tear-stained face and the look of anxious misery in her eye. I know that I have to help her in any way that I could. That's why I invite her in and talk about the solution. At the day we was planning to help Juliet doing that like sleep by drinking the medicine that I gave her. But everything didn't go as planned because the letter that I wrote to Romeo didn't reach him. He heard the news by his servant, then he rushed back to Verona that night without knowing any plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, now that we have known the whole story behind the tragic death of the three sisters, let's hear from the family member of the deceased, Lord Montague, the father of Romeo. Greeting, Lord Montague. I'm sorry for your loss, but would you mind telling us how you feel about your beloved son's death? And what would be the future relationship between the Montague and the Capulet? Would the feud between the two families still continue even after this tragic event?
It is such a remorse mistake in my life as a father of my only son Romeo, and I should have taken care of him better than this. I feel grief for my son's death, and I would like the relationship between the Montague and the Capulet to be ended from now on. We didn't get any benefit from this tragic event. By the way, we just lost our son, our daughter, because of the hatred.
So now let us hear from the other party, which is Lady Capulet, mother of Juliet. Greeting, Lady Capulet. I'm sorry to hear this tragic news, but can you tell me your exact feeling right now? And do you have any regret for your decision making in marrying your daughter to Count Paris despite her refusal?
Grieving over the loss of my daughter. If only God exists, I want to pray for my daughter to be alive and I would die in his stead. I did really regret for my ambitions from the start. If only I did not force her to marry Paris and let her choose her future husband by herself, then she would not secretly marry Romeo and drink the potion to avoid marrying Paris. And if I don't have that idea from the start, then my husband would also not strongly agree with my opinion and force my only daughter to marry Paris against her will. If I could bring back time, I would probably accept her relationship with Romeo.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for today. Hearing this tragic news brings sorrow and sadness to me as well as to the entire nation. I hope everyone who suffered in this tragic incident find peace and that the flame of anger and hostility between the Capulet and the Montague will be hopefully extinguished for the sake of peace for the people of Verona. Now let us go back to our studio for more hearing for this case. Welcome back, everyone. Tonight we are going to dive deeper into the case of teen suicide under the guidance of two socio-psychologists, Mrs. Sopliep, a professor of psychology from University of Verona, and Mr. Rong, a psychologist who specializes in the study of suicide overseas. Greeting Mrs. Sopliep and Mr. Rong. We are honored to have you here with us to discuss the two main themes related to the case of the suicide of Romeo and Juliet. So, what is your perspective regarding the first theme, which is about dying for the loved one? Do you think it's worth it to die in the name of love?
Thank you, Ms. Kanata, for your question. So, for me, love has many different meanings for different people. Considering parental love, friendship, and relationship, personally, I don't really support the idea that people chose to add their life for their lover. So it is not worth to die in the name of love.
What about you, Mr. Rong?
Okay, thank you for the question. Love can be defined in many forms for individuals. Love in terms of parental or family relationship to some sort of extent can be taken into consideration for some individuals due to their perception, culture, and etc. And also it's depend on an actual context itself. However, if we're talking about love in terms of romantic relationship, it should not be worth it to sacrifice one life for loved one.
And why do you think it's not worth it?
Well, if we broaden the field of view, choosing to die in the name of love could be just our own selfish decisions. The consequences that come after the death, we totally forgot about it as those who relatively close to us will bear the consequences from the tragedy. Besides, in the name of love, we could sacrifice the effort, time, and resources for the loved one. Why choose to take our life in the name of love? If we look at the tragedy itself, for example, what do we gain for the act? Our life is so precious, and it's not worth it to die for the loved one.
And returning with the death, for romantic relationship, it is unacceptable to fulfill your life just for your lover. Precisely, you're just being selfish and immature. Before deciding to do risky decision, you should give a thought to the outcome of the arranged strategy. Besides, why choosing that over finding other solution? You haven't tried your best to challenge the other solution yet. You choose that over the gleam of possibility that might actually happen. Therefore, you should try to cherish your life and put yourself in someone else's shoe. Well, you feel sad when your sweetheart no longer show their existence. Well, similarly, your parent might feel even greater loss for this misfortune.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Now, moving on to the next theme, which is about fate versus choice. And I would like you to address these themes specifically based on the context of the couple suicide case.
Precisely speaking, a violent plan hadn't taken the precautions seriously from the start, which is led to such a tragedy. The possible outcome could be changed if only both ear of the powerful families, Romeo and Juliet themselves, delay their decision making, examine the situations consciously, from falling in love at first sight to decide to commit suicide. All of their decisions seem to be made in a rush situation where they hadn't anticipated the negative consequences. For these reasons, from my point of view, the act and the choice of both parties, as well as the people involved, are to be blamed for this miserable calamity.
Another thing is considering uh, whether Romeo died for their own decision or fate. So, from my opinion, I think both Romeo and Juliet were the victim of their own decisions and the fate. So, we all know that Romeo and Juliet were in their adolescence. They made decisions rashly without rational considering. They also know that their parents were the enemy to each other, but they still decide to get married without their parents' permissions. Another thing is that they both chose to kill themselves when they see one of them was dead. So I think it is their own decision that is they decide to kill themselves. It seems somehow immature. And another thing is that the fate also involved in their death. So this strategy is also happened because of the fate. Well, Romeo and Juliet might have succeeded with Priscilla's plan if Romeo had received the letter about Priscilla's plan, and moreover, Juliet should have woken up earlier before Romeo decided to kill himself by drinking poison. So in short, both of them were at fault by the fate and their own immature decisions.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Oklip and Mr. Rong, for joining us today. We are honored to have you here with us. And that's all for today's Time Sizzling News. Once again, I'm Kanita of the Verona Darius News to bring you the latest news around the globe with no bias, with no exception, delivering nothing but the truth. We are hoping everyone in a good condition. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.